Welcome back to the Stick 'em Up podcast. Brundi, we had a great Game 7 last night between the Buffalo Sabres and the Montreal Canadiens, and Les Habitants are going to the conference finals. I think most people had the Sabres winning, which fair. I mean, look how they ended the season. Like, they were phenomenal, right? But we're gonna break that game down. We're gonna break down that series, and of course, the series previews for them versus the Carolina Hurricanes, as well as the Vegas Golden Knights versus the Colorado Avalanche over in the West. We're gonna talk all about that. But we do have a little bit of news outside of that, and it does pertain to the playoffs, not necessarily on ice, but John Torteralla fined $100,000, and the Vegas Golden Knights forfeit a second-round pick after failing to fulfill media duties. We have heard the rumors that it sounds like they had been internally warned several times these playoffs already, and this is like them being like, "Fine, you haven't listened to us. We're actually going to do something to make you." Like, it sounds like Bettman personally was very, he felt like this was like them like challenging his power or something. um
Yeah.
which, it's all about power in the NHL, right? The refs throw their weight around, Department of Player Safety does, Bettman does, the GMs try to where they can. And I know that you do not know this, but as of about half an hour ago at the time of recording, the Golden Knights appealed the NHL's punishment in person this morning. The penalties of the $100,000 fine for Tortorella and the loss of a second round pick will remain as assessed. No change.
Which kind of figured that would be the
Honestly, I thought the
outcome.
pick was going to go back to them, and I thought they were going to say, like, Tortorella, you keep your fine, and it would be like, we'll give back your second round pick, but if this happens again, like, it'll be a first next time, and there's no appealing it because we'll be pissed. But no, they're sticking to their guns, and I mean, especially because it's a team like Vegas that generally the league has, not like unfairly biased, I don't think, but like it feels like the league really enjoys Vegas as a team, right? Like, it feels like they might get a little softer treatment than if this happened to the Senators, for example, or the Jets, just a team that's not as beloved by the top tier people in the league. But no,
Yeah.
they're playing hardball with them. They said, "Fuck you, you didn't do your job."
I think is the right call to uphold it. Because again,
They've
I
been
mean,
rescinding
then
a
you
lot
just
of stuff.
and that's just where you put yourself in a position of, players might do something again, teams might do something again when they're like, well, you'll punish us, but you'll just go back on it. And Vegas was already, warned about this and still went through with it. For those who are unfamiliar with why they're, Tortorella's fined and they're losing a second round pick. So first of all, they closed off the locker room after the game for the media, so they couldn't go in, couldn't interview players, all that. Tortorella basically went out, did his media interview, and just decided, I'm not really going to give him much. And then Marner and Howden, they did go out and meet with the media, but they were clearly told going in, like, make it quick, get in and out, don't give them much. And they, they fulfilled their duties, but they were very clear, like, oh, we gotta go. If we stay here too long, we're gonna get left behind. But they're gonna just leave us here out and take the bus, right? So they had their mission set out for how they were going to handle the media. They went through with it, and again, now they're dealing with the consequences of it. And this is actually good on the league for just upholding it and being like, you know what, we're not going to give you a free pass. You've already been warned, and now if they do it again, fine might be more, potentially first round pick and so on. So
I think
I'm all for it.
because, like, here on the podcast, we've talked about it, and like, I think we're both on the same side that we were hoping, and when it did happen, we were happy that the Senators got their first round pick back.
Yeah.
I don't think that's the common sentiment. I think most people were like, yeah, they fucked it up and they should have still owed that first rounder. And that's totally fine. Like I see that argument. They fucked up, right? I just didn't think that was worthy of that hefty of a like giving up a first is a lot.
That one's so weird because like yes, Ottawa did kind of like fuck up, but at the same time,
It's also kind of on the
in
agent.
no
Like it's not
well, and
just the one team.
it's on Vegas too and their guys because there's no world you can tell me and convince me that me as a just a general hockey fan, I know more about players' clauses than the team that has that player under contract. Like there's no way. There's no way anyone on
Yeah.
Vegas could be like, yeah, you knew, but we didn't. No,
And they
you
have the
knew,
guy who
you
invented
tried, and
cap friendly on their team doing their cap stuff. Like how does he
Mhm.
not know? Like right? Like he's a wizard at that stuff. That got by like guys like him
So
too.
that's
Like
why I'm not on the train of some people of like, Ottawa should, have to forfeit that first because again, then Vegas should have as well. Because again, in my, I firmly believe there's no way I knew about something with a player's contract that team didn't. There's
yeah.
there's just
Yeah.
no way.
Yeah.
In this
And
day and
I
age,
agree with that. Like yeah, I feel like it's on the agent, it's on the Knights, it's on the Sens, it's on a lot of people. It was a weird situation. Um it if they didn't know he had a no trade clause, does that mean him and his agent didn't send in the no trade list? Like I don't know if you don't get a response on the email when you send in your trade list, maybe like follow up or something. But I don't know
yeah.
how that any of that actually works behind the scenes. But after that went back, and it started feeling like every time a pick gets taken away from a team, it teams wait a little bit, they lie low, they kind of wait till it's not as fresh, and then hey, can we please have our pick back, please? And
Yeah.
9 times out of 10, you will get it back. So it is kind of
Hmm.
nice to just see the league stick to their guns a bit here. Sounds like
Well,
the
and
league
it's
didn't hear them out a ton. Sounds like they,
mhm.
in the league's eyes, they gave them a lot of chances to listen to the warnings. I'm very curious to how many. Like they say multiple warnings. Multiple could be 2. Multiple could be 10. Maybe after every single game, they were like, "You have to do more for media," and every time they were told to fuck off. So
Well, I'm also kind of curious because, like, we know when Ottawa lost their first rounder, it was, you know, you had it was within the next 3 years, so you could pick which first rounder you were losing, right? And
right.
Ottawa obviously waited till the very end of this year to forfeit it, and they kind of waited out the league in that standoff, and they said, "All right, you know what, you can have it back." I we won't know in this scenario because they've just straight out said a 2026 second round pick. But I would have been curious to know, would Vegas have had the opportunity to decide which year if they actually had their seconds? Because again, they had their second round pick this year, but not in the next 2 years in 2027 or 2028. So I would have been curious if they could have maybe decided, or if they were just either way it was going to be, and it probably is just it was just going to be your second round pick this year. So then it's out of the way, it's done with, we move forward, and it's all
Right.
behind us type of thing. But Vegas now in this year's draft, 1 3rd round pick, 1 5th, 1 6th, and 1 7th round pick. They don't hold their first round picks this year or next year, and no second round picks. So not a lot of great prospects in the pipeline right now. Not a whole lot of top end draft capital aside from that 2028 first round pick, which it'll be traded at some point. Um, but
Well,
yeah,
that kind of brings up an interesting thought of what if they had traded this pick away? Would it would
Mhm.
they have given up a third? Would it have only been a third rounder this
They
year?
probably would have
Would
just
it have
said
been
a
the
third, yeah.
first in 3 years? Like
They probably would have just done the third in this year.
obviously you don't need to do this stuff on purpose. You could just talk to the media and not have that happen, right? But
Mm.
what if your team had traded? They're only 3 picks away from this now. 4 before the pick got taken away. What if you've traded all your first, second, and maybe even your third round picks for the next 3 years. Like, what if you don't have any of those? Just a
probably just
big
go down to a fourth then.
It'd go down to a fourth? Do they go to a first or a second round pick 4 years forward? Maybe the cash fine is just $500,000, $1 million? Like,
I don't think they would have adjusted the fine just because the fine is on Torteralla.
I was gonna
So
say
I don't
maybe it
think
would
they
be
would
like a
punish him
fine on
more
Tortorella
because
and then a bigger fine on like the CEO or
Mhm.
something. Like that's what they did to Tampa after the preseason game with all the fights against Florida. Like I think Cooper got fined like 25,000, and then the organization was fined like 250,000 or something like that.
Mhm.
Um,
Yeah, I
so
would be curious to know, but yeah, no first or seconds for Vegas this year, and
yep, the peel
but
did not work.
they're
It's
off
very
to
interesting.
the Western Conference Finals. And how did they get to the Western Conference Finals? They did so by defeating the Anaheim Ducks in Game 6. The final score, what was the final score in the end? Was it 5-1?
I think it was 5-1.
5-1.
Oh my
Going into
god,
Anaheim.
we got to talk about that Marner goal, dude.
Yeah, the Mitch
Holy
Marner goal
shit.
a minute into the game. Um,
That was a ridiculous goal. Like,
yeah.
man, for a guy with a reputation for not showing up in the playoffs, like it was like a minute and 20 seconds in, gets the breakaway, burns the defender, just absolutely puts the goalie in the washing machine. The defenseman catches up and still can't do anything about it, and he goes between the legs and just throws it in the net. Like
That's the
that
ball
was
rolling
absurd.
for Vegas. That was his 7th of the playoffs. Not long after Brett Howden, his 8th of the playoffs, a shorthanded goal assisted by Marner. And then
Brett
Shea Theodore
Howden.
near the end of the first and elimination game for Anaheim. And just like that, it's 3-0 Vegas after the first. And I mean, for Vegas fans, obviously thrilled with that, but like is just any other hockey fan just kind of watching the game, it's kind of like, well, this sucks because you knew it was over. Um, Anaheim makes it 3-1 in the second period, and then Dorofeyev gets 2 goals in the third, his 8th and 9th of the playoffs. Vegas really just steamrolled Anaheim to close the series out and looked good doing so.
Yeah, they it's too bad because they kind of I thought this series was going to end really close, and it was for the first bit, and then Vegas just took off and the Ducks couldn't keep up.
Yeah.
Um, but that does make this next round between Vegas and Colorado a little more interesting because if Vegas can be the team that they were in that final game, that game 6, there's a little bit of something to that series. Up
Yeah.
until that game, it was like good for whoever wins, but surely they get killed by the Avs. And frankly, this team probably still does just because these Avs look unstoppable, but
Mm-hmm.
they've certainly made it more interesting. They certainly look like a team ready to at least give them a fight on the way down at minimum. So
Yeah.
I'm more excited for this conference final series than I thought I would be now because Vegas looked damn good in the way that they got there.
They look absolutely. They looked really good. And, one of the biggest things people are kind of talking about is, Mitch Marner, right? And through rounds 1 and 2, 7 goals, 11 assists, 18 points in the playoffs now. But I think this series against Colorado will be very telling of playoff Mitch Marner in Vegas, I think. Obviously people are going to glaze him and shit on Toronto and whatnot, and that's all fine and fun right now.
Yeah.
But when you look
Toronto
at it,
fans aren't surprised, by the way.
yeah, no, and when you look
every
at Marner,
Toronto fan has looked at him and been like, "Yeah, we knew he was going to go off the second he left." Like,
yeah,
they're
because
cursed.
look at the
They know it.
teams. Look at the teams they play. They always having to go up against Boston, Tampa, Florida. He goes to Vegas, a good Utah team, but zero experience, and then goes up against a young Anaheim team with not a whole lot of experience. Like,
Two good teams, but definitely
he would
less
Marner would
battle
play
tested for
Utah or
sure.
Anaheim 10 out of 10 times before he would play Boston again, before he'd play Tampa Bay again, before he played
especially
Florida
in the
again,
playoffs.
because the Pacific Division is just a much easier path. And that's not to take anything from Marner because he has looked good, but I don't think we're going to be talking
is so high scoring.
Yeah.
As a fan of an Eastern Conference team, every game I watch in that conference, I'm like, people can score goals in the playoffs? What the fuck? Like,
Well, because who's the best goalie on a Pacific team?
I guess Dostal. Well, probably Wedgwood.
Probably Dustin Wolf. No, because Wedgwood's no, just in the Pacific Division.
I would say,
yeah.
Oh, in the Pacific. Okay,
like it'd be Dustin Wolf
in the playoffs, but
the Flames are still a ways away from the playoffs. Like Dostal can be a good goalie, but was pretty awful in the playoffs. Carter Hart, you either get a great performance from him or a bad performance. Edmonton, I mean, whatever goalie you want to say, not great. And LA, I mean, Darcy Kemper was great last year, Vezina finalist, but he lost the starting job this year.
Yeah.
So goaltending's just weak as shit in the Pacific. So yeah, if you're a good player like Marner, a top, 15, 20 player, it's going to be easy to light these goalies up. But the big test is going to be Colorado here, and a good team, but also a deep team with good defense, good goaltending. If Marner goes out there, and even if Vegas loses in 5 games, but he has 8 or 9 points, all right, yeah, he's a playoff stud still. It would just be a case of the better team won. But if Colorado wins and Marner's, 0 goals, 2 assists in 5 or 6 games, then it's like, okay, so then it goes back to the Toronto, when you're playing good teams, he has trouble showing up. So that's probably the biggest thing I'm going to be focusing on in this series, because I think it'll tell us a lot about playoff Marner and when it comes to being in Vegas now.
Yeah.
He's looked great up until this point. Like, can't even say anything bad about him through the first 2 rounds.
Yeah. He'd probably be the leading odds better for the Conn Smythe if Vegas was a bit stronger, or I guess they didn't have to go through the Avalanche. Like there's a very good argument that he's had the best playoffs out of anyone so far, but it's just tough to envision anybody being able to beat this Colorado team. They're just a juggernaut, and yeah, they're not undefeated the way the Hurricanes are. They'll drop 1 game to the Minnesota Wild, though. Like,
well, before we jump over, because to talk about Vegas, Colorado, just quickly with Anaheim.
Sure.
Great season, first of all, for the Anaheim Ducks. Snapping the playoff drought. First time back in the playoffs since I believe it was 2017, and even in 2017 they got swept. So, to finally get back into the playoffs and not only get out of the first round, like you beat the Edmonton Oilers, who went to back-to-back Cup finals, and yeah, Edmonton had some injuries and whatnot, but you know what? Who cares? So did Anaheim, and Anaheim found a way to win. It's I have a hard time believing that,
and they had
if
some
McDavid
bad injuries too.
was healthy, that Edmonton would be putting up 7 or 8 goals per game, because that's almost kind of where they needed to be to beat this Anaheim team. It was just everything was going in for them. So great season for them. It'll be a very interesting offseason. Mason McTavish, who they just, the start of the season signed to that 7-year deal at $7 million per year. Healthy scratch at times in the playoffs, 4th line minutes. Very, very good chance I think he does get moved. I mean, why would you be paying a guy $7 million that's 23 years old to sit in the press box? That's an assistant captain on your team that just has fallen down the totem pole for them. Cutter Gauthier, Leo Carlson, both RFAs, going to need new contracts. On the blue line, John Carlson, Jacob Trouba, and Radko Gudas. They're 3 right-handed defensemen, all UFAs. So a lot of decisions that they're going to have to make, as long with Pavel Mintyukov and Olin Zellweger, both RFAs on the blue line as well. It's going to be a busy offseason for Pat Verbeek and figuring out who are you bringing back, who are you letting go, and who maybe doesn't quite fit in with this core anymore. But again, great season for them, and fully expect them to build on this even more going into next year.
Yeah, 100%. And Cutter Gauthier had an incredible playoffs. It came out that he suffered in that not the Leafs Ducks game where Matthews got hurt, but the second game, the rematch,
The revenge game.
In that game, Cutter Gauthier suffered 2 broken vertebrae from a cross check. I can't remember who. It wasn't a vicious play. It looked like a pretty standard NHL cross check, just going into the corner, and broke 2 of his lower lumbar vertebrae, and he's just been playing through it in the playoffs. And he did absolutely fantastic considering he had 2 broken vertebrae. That's your back, man. Like, that's really important. I don't love that they already have a young guy like him playing through injuries like that. I can't imagine that's good for his longevity, but shows he's a damn good player and a warrior.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's a guy you can continue to build around going forward. Is obviously already
point per game.
Yeah.
He had 12 points in 12 playoff games, 4 of them goals. At 22 years old with a broken back. Like, that's ridiculous.
It's
do you know if they announced any of their other injuries? I saw that one, but
I haven't seen anything else yet. No.
Okay.
No. We can maybe circle back to that if we ever eventually find out.
Yeah. But great season by the Ducks. I think the goal was get into the playoffs this year. Just at least get there, get some level of experience, and try and build on it next season. And the fact that they got to Game 6 in round 2 against a very good-looking Vegas team is very promising for their future. When all these guys take another year, another step, they lock up some of them long-term that are expiring soon, and we'll see where they go with it.
Absolutely.
Do you think they keep Mason McTavish?
I know. I think he gets moved.
Interesting. I think
at this
a lot
point
of people
now,
are at that point. I don't think they end up moving him. I think because he's locked in, right? He's already got his extension.
Yeah, 6 more years at $7 million per year.
He was a 3rd overall pick and was looking like he was going to be a phenomenal player. I think long term at $7 million, there's too much upside to give up on there. Like, that could be like as soon as
think
next
about
season,
what you can maybe get back though.
Deal. Well, how much are you getting back right now though?
Is that an amazing deal for a third liner though?
No, but
someone will still pay for him.
They planned on him being their first liner, right?
Yeah, but someone will still pay, seeing the potential in him and whatnot. And sometimes maybe you just gotta eat it, and maybe you lose the trade, but you gain $7 million in cap space. And
I just think it would be too early to give up on him. Like, people talk like he's been around forever, and that's because he came into the league super early. But he's only 23 years old, and the guy had to get coached by a guy like Greg Cronin for a long time. Like,
so did these other guys though. They made it work. It's more so just because
not as long though.
No, but it's more so how can he improve as a third line center for him, or do you just tell him, hey,
he's a second line center long term, I think.
Yeah, but at least for the next 2 years, he's third line. Unless you tell him, hey, if you want to be an Anaheim Duck, be a winger. Go in the wing and make it work with our guys in the top 6.
I think he could be their
we've already got Leo Carlson. Yeah, in the future maybe, but I'm not moving Granlund down to the third line right now.
Well, but Granlund's not part of your future though. Like if it's gonna help McTavish be that guy and grow, like I think you
that's
got
the thing is
around.
it's not though. It's not.
I
that's
think
what I'm saying though. Is they can
it has to be like a top priority in the org for them to do. Like I think they need to try and get him there.
The thing is though, right? We have talked about this before, so I won't go super in depth with it. But like Mason McTavish is not a third overall player. He's not. He was picked third overall, but he was never meant to go third overall. He was very similar to the Beckett Seneca, where Anaheim reached on a player well before where they should have went because they were a bigger body. And right, and it worked out great with Beckett Seneca, but Mason McTavish, when we're talking about him, he was more projected to go in that 10th overall range.
But guys like that are still supposed to be at minimum top 6 usually.
Yeah, but sometimes it doesn't shine. I mean, still 41 points in 75 games is good, but
it's funny. People are talking about him, like he's a useless player. Like that's still
it's
pretty
not
good.
Like he's a bad player, but it's one of those things of you can keep trying to make it work, but it's almost kind of seems a bit more beneficial for Anaheim to cash in before maybe his value even takes a bigger hit.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Because again, I'm still high on McTavish, but like he's never going to be a first line player. Definitely could be a very solid second line player, but
I still think there's a world where he could sneak into a top line role.
4 years.
It would have to be as a winger because Leo Carlsson is the future of the Ducks.
I mean, 4 years in the league and has just stayed in the same spot. Like hasn't taken that next step yet.
Yeah. I think he's just one of those guys that I would give one more year of leash to, just because it's just a compounding of a bunch of different things, right? He got drafted in 2021. Like he was part of that weird COVID era where things were a bit weird. It was harder for them to develop at the time. Came into a system where there wasn't a lot of good players for him to play with. He had a bad coach, and we all knew it for quite a few years. Like he just hasn't been in a great situation. And
but there's numerous other guys like him. Like why does? But again, like I do get what you're saying, but at the same time, why does he get a free pass when guys drafted lower than him keep jumping above him though? Like they were in the same situation.
I just think he's just slated to be a much better than $7 million a season player, and I think it would just be too early to move off of him.
Potentially, but I don't think in Anaheim. I think
I think it could happen.
28 other teams, definitely, but in Anaheim at this point now, probably not. Especially considering now that they're like, oh shit, like it's going all in for them, right? Like you're going all in.
They're entering a window,
trading out, first round picks for potentially a rental in John Carlson. I don't know if he comes back.
It sounds like he had a really good time.
Definitely be a
really good time there.
I don't think they actively look to move McTavish, but I think they're going to be like, hey, if you want to throw us some offers.
You do have to hear out offers on him, for sure. Yeah. I mean, if somebody offers you something ridiculous for him, he's not nailed to the floor by any means. They've got, man, it's so funny. They got John Carlson, Jacob Trouba, and Radko Gudas all expiring at the end of the season. There's a lot of older right-handed defensemen that are a very good veteran presence. I'm interested to see what they do with those guys. Gudas probably doesn't come back. Trouba had amazing things to say about this team. They revitalized his love for hockey since he's been there, stuff like that. Like very good reviews, and not so great reviews kind of making it sound like for the Rangers, kind of, obviously saying that means at some point in the last bit playing with the Rangers, he kind of fell out of love with it for a little bit. It'll be interesting to see who they bring back and what they do. But they got a lot of stuff they can do. They got a lot of options.
But as for the Golden Knights and Avalanche, they are the two teams that we will see in the Western Conference Finals. I mean, pretty simple. Top team in the Pacific, top team in the Central. get their way through. Game 1 kicks off tomorrow in Colorado. Excitement level for this series. Predictions, like what are you feeling going into this one?
I'm more interested in the series after the past 2 games in the Vegas Ducks series because Vegas really turned it on and looked like that cut above team. They looked like a strong team. Like, we'll talk about them obviously later, but over in the East, I'll use the Habs as an example because they're the ones moving on, and they're not the Hurricanes because the Hurricanes don't apply here. But Habs looked good. Were they the better team than Tampa in the first round? I don't know, 50. I would say 50-50, but they won. I'll give them 55%, maybe even 60. But they didn't dominate, right? They went to game 7. Then they beat the Sabres. Well, who was the better team? It kind of really depended on the game in this series. But they came out on top.
Yeah.
But like, were they the better team? It's hard to say. They haven't looked like a. Usually, when you get to these final 4 teams, it's like, all right, these are teams that have looked better than their opponents. They've outclassed their opponents a lot of the time.
Yeah.
I don't know if I've quite seen that there, and I didn't think I was going to see that out of Vegas. After the first round, I think they looked very similar to the Habs. But they did kind of kick it into gear and look like they outclassed a very good young Ducks team. It's made me a lot more excited for this series, but the Avalanche have just been dominant. And they've dominated other teams that have been dominating other teams all year. Like it just looks so lopsided no matter who's going up against the Avs right now. And I'm hoping they can give them at least a run for their money. I really hope Vegas takes game 1 just to like give it that jump start. Because nobody's expecting that, right?
Mm-hmm.
But it's still going to be a very fun series. There's a lot of skill. The goaltending just hasn't been holding up in the West, which means we're going to get lots of fun goals and all that. I am excited for this more than I thought I would be, which is always good. And I think this series is it going to be Colorado's longest series yet? That only means it has to go to 6. Vegas takes 2 games. I could see that. I wouldn't be shocked.
Definitely possible.
But as far as predictions, it's got to be Colorado. I'm going to pick Colorado until they lose to somebody. And
what are you going? 5, 6, 4, 7? 7?
I'm going to go Colorado in 5. I mean, Minnesota is a phenomenal team, and they only took 1 game out of them.
Yeah, and I mean, when you look at, again, like we've already talked a bit about Vegas, but Vegas is just highs and lows with them. Obviously, closing out that Anaheim series on a couple of highs, and again, like that game 6 was a statement game for Colorado. I mean, again, like we talked about last episode, but you beat Minnesota by 3 goals. Beat them by 3 goals. You lost by 4, but then you bounce back and you beat them by 3. And then game 5, end of the first period, you're down 3-0. It's like, all right, it's Minnesota's dragging it back home for game 6. Colorado, four straight goals to win it in overtime. Like, this was a Colorado team that showed they can dominate a great Minnesota Wild team. And you can, the Minnesota Wild could be up 3-0 on them, and Colorado can just keep pushing back all game and be like, we're going to win. Don't know when we're going to score goals, but we're going to come back and win. And with like 6-ish minutes left.
I think they were down by 2 with 4 minutes left still, or 5 minutes left. And I remember watching it. Actually, yeah. I remember watching it being like, they have to tie this game up. Like, they have so much offense. There's so much creativity. Like, it's not that those dying seconds games where for the final few minutes they're passing it around, they're trying to find the perfect play, and it's just not opening up. It was like, no, they're forcing these seam passes open and everything, and like,
yeah,
they literally just need to hit the net at the right spot. And when you have a guy
They
like
were able
Nathan
to.
McKinnon who can freaking just at will be like, oh, I'm just going to embarrass this goalie and score from here. Like, yeah, it just felt
It just
inevitable they were going to do it. And then pretty quickly
yeah.
into overtime, they handled business. Yeah, this
Yeah,
team is never
I
out of it. And they're
mhm.
rarely chasing that lead when they have to come back like that.
Yeah,
Usually
and
they're
it's
ahead.
the number one thing I'm critical of when it comes to Carolina's again, like ain't no super impressive, like can't take anything away from that. But again,
Yeah.
haven't seen this team, this current Hurricanes team in the playoffs really face adversity. And I know a lot of people say, "Oh, what about the when Philadelphia went up? Like, Philadelphia went up 2-0 in the first 10 minutes. Carolina had 50 minutes to come back. That's not adversity." This Colorado one though, down by 2 goals with 5 minutes left. That's some adversity, and that's finding ways to come back. And
And a better team in Minnesota to do it against.
way, way better team. Like Minnesota
Like,
sweeps Philly. Sorry, Philly, but like it's true. Um, yeah, I think I'm with. I'm gonna go. Yeah, I'm obviously gonna go Colorado. I'm debating between 5 and 6.
I wanted to say
I'm
6,
gonna
but
go
like,
5 actually, just because
yeah,
I don't know how much we're gonna see of Mark Stone in this series, and
that's
I
true.
think
He
that's
missed
gonna
a
be a
couple games.
huge. That I mean, that's losing your captain and whatnot is always a huge loss, but like especially Mark Stone and the way he plays the game, especially defensively. Uh, he didn't play the final 3 games of the Anaheim series, and it kind of looked to be a bit like a groin injury, which those aren't great. Those take a lot of time to heal.
Mark Stone,
So
not
even
a
if he
guy
does
known
come
for his
back,
speed.
he's not going to
So
come back anywhere near 100%. So I think that definitely is in favor of Colorado, especially because again they have so many top end forwards that you know Jack Eichel can only do one line, Marner can only do one line. That's still one other phenomenal line that is going to be free to go out there. So yeah, I'm going to go Colorado in 5.
yeah,
Again, like Vegas, I think a lot of people wrote them off going into the playoffs just because everyone was always just so high on Edmonton. It's like kind of the way we're talking about Colorado. It's like, well, until Edmonton loses, like we're always going to keep picking them, and
yeah.
they get bounced round 1. Vegas got battle tested pretty good by some young scrappy teams, but the biggest thing for Vegas was their experience is what put them over. And against Colorado, Vegas doesn't have that advantage anymore. They're on par with
Yeah.
Colorado in that department, right? So their biggest thing that they had going for them is gone because the Avs have just as much, if not more. So
And I
yeah,
think one thing a lot of people were skeptical about with the Golden Knights was their depth scoring, because for their cup runs and like final runs and just deep playoff runs over the past several years, a huge staple of their success has been just overwhelming depth.
mhm,
And their roster, just from the outside looking at it, did not have that in the same way this year.
yeah.
And then Brett Howden goes out and puts up 8 goals in the first 2 rounds. So
Dorofeyev has 9.
he's gonna
Even
get
like
paid
he's
this
gonna get
offseason.
fucking paid. Yeah, Vegas's depth scoring has been good this series, and again, Carter Hart can be good, but again, it's either really good or really bad. And if at times Utah and Anaheim was able to make him look pretty silly, I mean, Colorado's just gonna have a field day.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
There's not a defensive system or a goalie that I think that they couldn't make look silly. Like they just have so much offensive firepower. Like their deadline acquisition of a third line center was Nazem Kadri.
yeah,
Like it's
yeah, that's just
it's a ridiculous roster.
it's nuts. Um, so we both have the Colorado Avalanche going on to the Stanley Cup final. Over in the East, we know that it is the Montreal Canadiens versus the Carolina Hurricanes. But before we can talk about that series, we got to go back to last night, and
Yeah,
even a
we
step
do.
further, 3 nights ago. Um, Buffalo's backs up against the wall in Montreal. Not an easy place to play in. Backs against the wall and go out there and force a game 7. Not only force a game 7, like embarrassed Montreal in their own barn to the point where 10 minutes left and there wasn't a lot of Montreal fans left there.
You have to do some hard work to empty out Bell Center with 10 minutes left in a playoff game. In a game where they could move on in the playoffs.
Yeah. Well, it was looking good for them at first. I mean, Rasmus Dahlin opens a scoring 32 seconds in. Quick response by Montreal. Arbor gets them on the board. Ivan Demidov makes it 2-1. Jake Evans, shorthanded goal.
Ridiculous goal, too.
Just like that, halfway through the first, it's 3-1 Montreal. Place is rocking. Fans are buzzing. Players are buzzing. Didn't look good for Buffalo. And yeah, Buffalo rattles off 7 unanswered. Just put their foot down and just went all out. Power play went 4 for 6 in this game.
You can only lose one game at a time, right? No matter how bad you get beat, it can only be one in the L column after 60 minutes.
Yeah.
At the same time, cup winning teams just don't really have this happen against them in the playoffs. As sample size, just over the last 10 years, teams like Florida, Tampa, Vegas, the Avs when they won, even going back to teams like Pittsburgh in 16, 17, they would lose games, but 7 unanswered is
insane.
Tough.
It's insane.
Tage Thompson in that game,
but 4 points plus 3. Jack Quinn 2 goals, 3 points plus 1. Rasmus Dahlin 1 goal, 4 assists, was a plus 2 on the game, and we had talked about it earlier off the podcast, but became the first defenseman to have a 5-point game when his team is facing elimination.
That's a cool stat. Some people might look at that and be like, it's a little cherry picked, it's a bit specific, but it's a pretty cool stat. 5 points is a lot against elimination. That's the captain. We'll talk about it in a bit as well, but he also scored the game tying goal in game 7. Absolutely massive. Rasmus Dahlin showed up in these playoffs. And it's funny because you mentioned another guy who I believe you said had a 4-point night in game 6, Tage Thompson. I was not impressed with his play a lot. He's clearly has talent. He's still an elite player. I'm not going to take any of that, right? But I put something in the chat saying that he looks like he's playing a perimeter game. He's not looking like a play driver right now at all. And you said that you thought there's a good chance he's injured, and I completely agree with that. He
just want to say we are, with Tage Thompson, he is tied for second in playoff points, so.
Right? That's the level we're talking. And it's crazy because he's getting a lot of them with assists and secondary assists. You watch him, he wants goals. He's getting a bunch of those. He doesn't fucking want them. He wants to be scoring. Anytime the puck is on his stick, there was one time, I think it was in the overtime in game 7, where he grabbed the puck on the half wall and he could have played it back to his defenseman who had tons of time. They could have set up and made a play, and he just turned and freaking whipped it at the net. He so badly wanted that overtime goal. They had that 2-on-1 situation, and instead of passing it or even just shooting it on his own, he dangled basically straight through the defender and then tried to just push it around Dobesh. And it felt like just misreading the play and not doing the right thing. He came really freaking close to scoring that goal. So
yeah. It's kind of a messy play, but it's still almost worked out. Buffalo.
It's hard to argue with results.
Again, throttles Montreal in game 6, force a game 7, which we saw last night. And again, kind of the common theme of this series is early goals. I think up until game 7, it was the longest a game went without a goal, I think, was 5.5 minutes, somewhere in there. And once again, we didn't even reach that point.
Feels like it.
Philip Deneau gets the game started 4.5 minutes in, 1-0 Montreal. Zach Bolduc, about 5.5-ish minutes left in the first.
Great pass from Suzuki on that goal too.
Yeah,
that honestly, like, you know, that felt like a Nikita Kucherov assist right there. He went flying into the corner. He shoulder checked, saw a guy out front. He grabbed the puck, and he did, because he shoulder checked before getting there. He didn't even have to look. He just, as soon as he got to the puck, just fucking whipped it out front. There was nobody covering him. Everyone was pinching to cover him, and Bolduc just one times it. Roof daddy, just in and out of the net. I don't even think most of the people in the arena knew it was in. And
and then second period, fourth line goes to work for Buffalo. Jordan Greenway with the deflection off Matthias Samuelsson, 2-1, and Buffalo was pushing back hard in the second period and was only able to get the one goal, 2-1 going into the third. But we were talking, and you said, Buffalo just keeps going like this. The way they go, they're going to tie it up.
So good to end the second period and basically all of the third period. Like, it was starting to look a lot like Game 7 with the Lightning. Like, Montreal, when they get their chances, look crazy dangerous. Other than that, the other team, the home team, is dictating a lot of play, and the Sabres had the puck. Like, just, I would love to know what percentage of the time in the third period Dobesh was on the screen versus UPL. Like, the puck was just always in the Habs end, but they couldn't break through. They looked so talented out there, the Sabres. They looked so good. They just looked a little disjointed. They just didn't ever quite settle in and be able to set up. Like, they looked great, so talented. They just kind of were gripping their sticks tight. Like, they looked like a team that hadn't been in the playoffs for 15 years.
Yeah. Well, but guy who looked like he's been doing this his whole life in the playoffs, Rasmus Dahlin, once again ties the game up in the third. And again, Buffalo kind of really controlled the majority of that third period. It started to feel like they might just get a late goal and finish this one in regulation. And we thought they maybe did on that Beck Malenstein goal, but ref blew the whistle. A lot of people feel like it was an early whistle. A lot of people say, but goalie had it covered. Again, there's two sides to look at it, but the biggest thing, again, is a Game 7, and one of the biggest things we're talking about is a call that happened on the ice, rather than just the game itself, which is never a good look for the refs, for the league, for the product and whatnot. I'm torn on it.
And they just wanted to sweep it under the rug, which is one of the parts that really rubbed me the wrong way. They didn't know what to say, and they didn't know how to handle it on the broadcast, so they immediately cut to commercial before the next face-off. They're like, commercial break, let's reset. When they come back, they just drop the puck, we keep going. They don't explain it, they don't do anything. And it's like...
It's a really weird one.
Are people watching your sport, or are they not? Like, don't pretend like it didn't happen when we're all watching. Like, you don't love the call, but at least having the guy on the broadcast be like, we're back from the break, and they looked at the play, and, well, he blew the whistle. What can you do? He thought he had it covered. It trickled out, but the ref blew the whistle, and that's that. Like, they just needed to explain it at all, but I don't think commentary referenced it at all after they came back. And it just would have been nice for them to say something. Like, we don't need the ref to go to center ice and make a big announcement. But
to me, that didn't matter to me, because, at least for me, like, I already know why. But I guess for the people that, like, don't watch hockey as much, for them, sure. But for me, I'm like,
exactly.
I get it. Like, I know already.
Exactly.
Know why
we both know why, but like, the playoffs are for bringing in more people. There's so many people watching. Like,
I totally get what you're saying. I'm just saying, for me personally, like, I don't give a shit, but I do totally understand what you're saying. It's just it's one of those weird ones of, like, it was an early whistle, but at the same time, like, and we're probably never going to see a proper replay. Like, did Dobesh properly have it covered? Was the puck loose a bit that it was able to be poked in through, like, or did he have it fully covered and his glove just got whacked and pushed back? Like, we'll never get a proper replay. We'll never know. But I guess it is what it is, and we go to overtime, Game 7 overtime. I mean, fucking who doesn't love a Game 7 overtime, right? Like,
it's so good, man.
It's literally like the best thing you can get in hockey.
It's a crime that the Habs are the only people giving us these Game 7s. Like,
yeah, these are the only. This was the second Game 7 we got to the playoffs, and the same guy both times getting the game-winning goal. Alex Newhook gets the overtime winner in this one. He had the game-winning goal in the third period against Tampa Bay. It's a great shot, but it shouldn't have went in. UPL should have had that one, and you could see he was pissed afterwards.
It's
like,
such he knew a hockey goal too. Like, it's just one of those moments where hockey's just a little bit more RNG than the other sports, and it was a deflected puck. I haven't seen a lot of people talking about it, but
it
wasn't deflected part way through the shot. It was one of those situations where, as he's taking the shot, Dahlin puts his stick out and, like, basically deflects it the instant it leaves Newhook's stick, and it just kind of knuckle pucks over and just beats him on the glove side.
Yeah, it's a tough one,
man. That's rough.
It's a tough way to have the season, and
that's kind of the barometer of, is UPL going to be their guy going forward? After that, I don't think so.
I don't know
it's
how you can if you're Buffalo, like, you're in the second round and you were, flipping your goalies back and forth. Like,
and one of them's Alex Lyon, and he ended up being better.
Commit to either one. Did he? I mean, probably, yeah, but
by the stats, much. Like, overall, no. But I'm saying, like, that's not a good situation when Alex Lyon is your better goalie in the playoffs. Like, he's not even an NHL starter. Like,
he's a good backup, but yeah, she shouldn't be your starter. And yeah, that's, for me, I kind of 3 takeaways from Buffalo and getting back in the playoffs is, you got to figure out what you're doing with your goalies. You can't be in the second round and flip-flopping them back and forth because they have a good 20 minutes and then you're like, oh yeah, they're our starter next game. And then they shit their pants in the first period and they get yanked. And it's like, oh, this guy was good down the stretch.
This is how we talk about Edmonton.
Yeah. And it's, Buffalo's kind of going through that problem. Second one is Alex Tuch. Good first round against Boston, but second round, 7 games, 0 points, -9. It's just unacceptable. I do think he will resign in Buffalo, though. I mean, Buffalo just made it back into the playoffs. He can get that 8-year deal from Buffalo, and he's from the area. So, like, I don't know why so many people are so dead set on, he's going to free agency, and it's like,
I think it's just the fact that he hasn't resigned yet. Like,
no,
I figured Buffalo's just I always figured he would stay there, but like,
Buffalo's just focused on winning. I actually do have 4. The other one is,
go for it.
Rasmus Dahlin is a top 3 defenseman in the league. He's not in the tier of a Cale Makar and Quinn Hughes, but he is comfortably the next guy up, right below those two.
I don't think I can say. I would put him at the same.
I know who you're gonna say. See, I would normally, but the thing is, we just saw Rasmus Dahlin fucking dominate in the playoffs here. Haven't seen that from Werenski, and it's tougher for Werenski because he is in Columbus. But all Werenski has to do, make the playoffs, do good, and I'm like, okay, he's there.
But he's also been better than Dahlin in the regular season for some
time. Who cares? I'd rather take a defenseman that'll put the team on his back in the playoffs over a guy that is good in the regular season.
Yeah, but it's not like Werenski's bad in the postseason. We just don't really know.
We don't know, but that's the thing. So and that's fair. But I'm just going off of what I know, and what I know is Rasmus Dahlin's a fucking baller in the playoffs. It's literally nothing against Werenski. It's just I have proof for one player, and I just don't for the other. So I have to go off that. Yeah. And the last one, new GM Jarmo Kekalainen, hands down the worst move made this entire season, and that's saying a lot considering what Edmonton did with Tristan Jarry. You traded Isaac Rosen and a second round pick when you pivoted because Colton Parayko didn't want to go to Buffalo. And you pivoted for Logan Stanley and Luke Schenn. Logan Stanley was abysmal in the playoffs. Luke Schenn, he played 2 games against Montreal, wasn't very good.
He was always going to be a bit of a like injury. I think Luke Schenn was always planned to be like injury replacement in the playoffs. I don't think he was ever slated to be top 6.
But then even then he wasn't. Then Game 7, neither one of them played, and instead they had Zach Metzik play that 6th defenseman spot where he only played 3 minutes and 25 seconds in Game 7 because they couldn't even trust Luke Schenn or Logan Stanley in a Game 7. So for Kekalainen, that's a awful trade to give up those good assets for 2 defensemen that by the time of an elimination game in the playoffs were unplayable for you.
Yeah.
It is
an underratedly bad trade. I definitely don't think it's as bad as the Jarry trade, just because Edmonton lost 2 valuable pieces and gained an anchor contract. But I mean, that's grading on a curve. That doesn't make this trade any better. You got,
Okay, maybe it's on par with the Jarry one then.
Yeah, it's still. We're arguing the difference between a 2 out of 10 trade and a 1 out of 10 trade. Like, it's abysmal.
Yeah, it's pretty bad. But again, for Buffalo, a great season overall. You broke the curse. You got back in the playoffs. You're a good enough team. You'll probably be back in the playoffs next year. You got to work
Let's
on.
Go Buffalo chants at the end of Game 7.
Fans are awesome.
Yeah.
Their fans are
95% of the fans were still in the building. They watched out the final handshake. There's some of those teams that have a lot of recent success that when they don't do well, the fans kind of have that short attention span. I think of teams like Vegas where like they're so passionate when they're winning, but as soon as it starts going bad, they check out a little bit early. And that's not all Vegas fans. That's an example of a newer team, and Vegas isn't a place known for its long attention span, right?
Even with Buffalo
fans
Buffalo
are hardcore.
Buffalo could have gotten the beatdown they gave Montreal and lost 8-1 in Game 7. And I think majority of their fans would still be there.
Yeah, 100%. Like
they're loyal to their team. We know that. I mean, how long did they wait?
They're still Sabres fans. Like, that's enough, right? Like, I genuinely don't know. If I had picked the Sabres instead of the Lightning when I was a kid, I genuinely do not think I would have been able to hold out throughout all of that crap to still be cheering for them when this turnaround happened. Like, I would be happy for them at this point. I think I would have jumped ship to another team at this point. Like, that's what they went through is just horrible. So
it's
nothing but respect for those fans, and they made a really good playoff atmosphere. Some of the best atmospheres we saw in the league this year.
Yeah, and bright future for Buffalo. Good things to come. And again, they know what they need to work on. They know what they need to address, and we'll expect them to.
They know what they got in some of these young players
to work on that.
Holy
Zach Benson,
shit.
really.
Zach Benson, Jack Quinn, Josh Doan. There was one point in this game where Josh Doan was coming in, and I think it was a 2-on-1, and he had the puck, and it was a 2-on-1, but the defenseman who wasn't back caught up to the play to create a 2-on-2, and he skates up while Josh Doan is like slowing down and stick handling, and he lays a perfect body check on Doan, and he just I don't even think Josh Doan saw that the guy was there yet. Just fucking bounced off him like he was made of stone. I was like, holy shit. Like, he looked like Evgeny Malkin out there, the way guys would try and hit him, and he just...
I think it was
get the fuck off me.
I think it was Gouli.
Yeah.
Who's been a force for Montreal on the blue line.
Yeah. They got some elite players, and they got a ton of great young guys. Like, this is finally the team
we've
been saying for years. Like, as soon as they can get over that curse, their roster is ridiculous. And now that they're over it, fuck. they could be a top tier team
full steam ahead for them.
Quite a bit.
Absolutely. Well, we know that the Eastern Conference matchup is now set for the finals. The Carolina Hurricanes and the Montreal Canadiens. Safe to say the two best goalies going head to head this so far through the playoffs, I think, in Dobes and Freddie Anderson. I think they've been out of the teams left. I mean,
Wedgwood's been pretty good for Colorado.
For the most part, yeah.
There's been some higher scoring games. I think I would put Wedgwood about on par with Dobesh. Freddie Anderson's been ridiculous.
I would
he also,
go
again,
Dobesh.
The competition hasn't been the same level.
That's why I'm going Dobesh, just because going through Tampa and Buffalo, and I mean, yeah, Wedgwood, did all right for the most part against Minnesota.
It's pretty good against
the LA series was,
it's pretty
any goalie
easy to. They're not a great team. They're also a defensive first team. Panarin was the only guy who scored against them.
Pretty much. But yeah, I mean, Carolina 8-0, Montreal 8-6. Montreal going through back-to-back 7-game series. Carolina back-to-back sweeps. By the time what was the stat? By the time game 1 starts of the series, Carolina will have only played 8 games in the last 33 days or something like that. Something ridiculous. They're going to be so well rested against a Montreal team that has just been put through the ringer in back-to-back series through Tampa and Buffalo. It's really the juggernaut of the East going up against the underdog that a lot of people wrote off in round 1, and it's they got through to round 2. They write them off again. Montreal just continues to prove people wrong.
Yeah.
My biggest worry for Montreal is their top dogs are in guys like Suzuki, Caulfield, Slavkovsky, even Ivan Demidov, have struggled 5-on-5, and now they're going up against the Carolina Hurricanes,
and they smother you 5-on-5.
Just smother you 5, exactly. So that's why
I didn't like this matchup.
Yeah, it's. Yeah,
I cannot find the stat, but if I'm remembering it correctly, I believe the Carolina Hurricanes are going to have 11 days in between games, going from their final game against Philly to their first game against the Habs coming up, and that is the longest in playoff break a team has had since the Montreal Canadiens give me a guess. What year did the Montreal Canadiens have an 11-game break?
I feel like it wouldn't be something stupidly far. It would still have to be once they were doing 7-game series, though, right? Surely.
I don't know when that change was, but probably not. 1919.
Oh,
1 year after World War I ended, they had a break that long. I don't even know if Maurice Richard was born yet. Probably
so 100
not.
years ago, basically. Well, I mean, more than 100 years, obviously.
100, 107 years ago.
That's nuts.
Yeah, because between the Carolina days, between games, sweep,
May 9th
Game 7
was their last one, and May 21st. Yeah, so
yeah, it's
a week and a half. That's.
I really hope that Carolina has a good game 1, just because I always hate when everyone does, right? It's so annoying when these off ice things become on ice storylines. Sometimes it can add a little bit of fun stuff when it's the Four Nations group chat thing where it ends up having this big fight at the start, and that's awesome. That's fun.
Mm-hmm.
You hate when it's a storyline as something boring as Carolina got a bunch of days off and now they have rust and now they don't look as good. That's not the kind of storyline you want. So I really hope they come out guns a-blazing. They look like a team that has rest versus rust in that first game.
that'll settle the debate right there for Carolina. Like Carolina will determine.
And the Habs have
right
played
there.
Game 7 twice in a row, so it really is playing a shit ton versus playing few and getting rest. So it's kind of a perfect scenario to test that. But
Yeah,
Brundi, what is your prediction for this series?
I don't think Carolina pulls off a third sweep in a row. I think
It's
again
hard
with this
to
Montreal
imagine.
team, I think they're a scrappy team. They love
Yeah.
playing the underdog role. Um, I see a lot of people kind of being like, again, because I'm in that camp of being very critical of Cole Caulfield in the playoffs. And, obviously a lot of people try to give him a free pass and be like, well, it's, you know, he's still a young player and it's whatnot. It's like, so what is he? Is he a young player in the league or whatnot, or is he a 50 goal scorer?
Yeah.
14 games played, 8 power play points, 8 of his 9 points on the power play. He's got 1 5-on-5 goal. This is a guy that put up 50 goals, so he is not immune to criticism. And if Montreal wants to even have a chance in the series, he's going to need to find his game. Nick Suzuki's already been great offensively and also playing a great defensive game. Cole Caulfield's the next guy up that they rely on for a lot of offense. Even Lane Hudson's doing his job on the back end.
And Lane Hudson, even when he's not, he looks dangerous out there. Cole Caulfield,
he's still creating opportunities.
There's entire games where I go almost the whole game without noticing him. And yeah, it's
Zach Benson proved very clearly how even if you're not putting up points, how you can still be noticed on every time you're out
guy
there
doing that as well.
Yeah.
And
Zach
another
Benson
guy, Logan Stankoven. He's scoring a shit ton of goals in these playoffs. Like, other guys are doing
size
it.
Isn't an excuse. It's, and again, you're going up against Carolina, who just smothers you 5-on-5. Like, it just really does not feel like a great matchup for Montreal, where 5-on-5 they're already struggling, and then you put them up against Carolina. That's
it feels like a match made in hell for Montreal. I think
Carolina's going to be
probably
more
the worst team in the whole playoffs for them scheme wise, like just the team fit.
And I think Carolina's actually going to bring more physicality
lost, though.
than Buffalo will. I thought that's what was going to give Buffalo the edge, was their physicality. Buffalo's pretty soft, actually, for the most part. Carolina under Brendamore,
of it.
He's not going to let that.
But they didn't stay there.
Happen. Like, he's not going to let Carolina go soft now once they get to the Eastern Conference Finals. So
especially with all that rest and them being fresh off of 14 games played already in the playoffs, he's going to be like, guys, we got to go out there game 1 and make them go, oh, not another series like this. Like, just exhaust them. They already look tired. Tired. So they could definitely go out there and lay the hammer down.
I'm going Carolina in 5. I think Montreal finds a way to steal one game, but
fair.
Again, everything just points in Carolina's favor right now. Like, there's not one area that I can be like, I give Montreal the edge. It's, maybe it's a different story if Montreal beat Buffalo in like 5 and they get a bit of a rest, but it's Carolina's so fresh and Montreal is so.
They got outplayed again in a game 7 and 1. In my eyes, at least for the most part. Like, they played way better in the first, but the rest of the game, it felt like
majority of the game
constantly seeing their end of the ice.
They got outplayed.
They were on the back foot.
I'm gonna go. They find a way to win, though.
I'm gonna go Hurricanes in 6. I want to say in 5, but like, this Habs team, regardless of how they look, they keep finding ways to win these games. I think they have to take at least 2.
I wouldn't be shocked if they took 2. Yeah.
Who knows? Maybe they
wouldn't be
end up winning in a game 7 or something. But
yeah, I don't think that's out of the question. Either of these series, I think, have the potential to go 7.
Yeah,
but again, not super likely. But in the Stanley Cup playoffs, I mean, anything is possible.
Yeah, and the Hurricanes, they've kind of cruised to this spot a couple years now in the past, like 7 years. but they can never rack up the wins once they get to this third round. So this they've had a relatively easy path here so far. The Canadiens, they match up well against. They're tired. Like, this is their chance. Like, they're already a top team, but they've also been given a pretty, like, basically the ideal path to the finals.
Mm-hmm.
They gotta capitalize on it. If they're a serious contender, they have to win the series. If they lose this series to the Canadiens after what they've gone through and what their team has done and got the rest they've got, like, there'll have to be big changes in the franchise if
Yeah.
they can't win this series, I feel like.
Yeah. No, I think you're right. But yeah, we are now into the third round of the playoffs. Starts tomorrow. We'll be back on Friday, where we'll be discussing. We'll at least know the results of games one in both series. Um, these playoffs have been a lot of fun. They're going to continue to be a lot of fun, and definitely looking forward to watching these series unfold. But we are now at the tail end of the episode. As always, love to wrap things up with a fun game. Braden, for you today, I've got another What's the Connection for you. And this one's a little bit different.
Okay.
I've got 4 words here, and it's up to you to just look at these words, analyze them any way you want, and figure out what's the connection
All right.
between them. Are you ready for your 4? I've got 4 for you today. And you got to figure it out.
Are these teams or
You'll have to wait and see.
just okay? This is just kind of I don't know if it's been a while since we did this one or if I'm just forgetting, but
No, this one's I've changed it. I've changed it up a bit for this one.
okay,
As opposed to asking you questions, it's just I'm just giving you these 4 things, and you just got to figure out what the connection is.
What the connection is. All right, I like that.
We've got Utah, Buffalo,
yes, I should probably write these down.
Marchand, and Crosby. Those are your 4.
Utah, Buffalo, as I typed it, Marchand, and Crosby.
What's the connection?
What is the connection? Utah, Buffalo, Marchand, Crosby.
And it's not necessarily in those exact words that I've given you. I will say you got to think around the words. I'm not just giving you the straight up answers. Yeah.
Right. Obviously, talking about Brad Marchand, we're talking about Sidney Crosby. Trying to think of maybe things they have done. I think if it was something their team had done, you would have just put the team probably.
Yeah, it's got nothing to do with their teams that they're on. It's just them.
Buffalo and Utah. Marchand was a captain in Boston. Crosby obviously captain in Pittsburgh. Buffalo, I don't know. Buffalo's got a captain, but that doesn't seem like much.
I will say the connection has nothing to do with is not hockey related whatsoever with this game.
Oh, I see.
The connection between these is nothing, does not involve hockey whatsoever.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Like it doesn't even.
Nope.
Like not even like the Utah. It doesn't have anything to do with the Utah Mammoth. Just Utah.
Well, that's no. Utah Mammoth is fine.
Okay.
I'm just saying the final answer for what the connection is nothing to do with hockey though.
I see.
Yeah.
Mammoth. Marchand's a rat. Crosby's a dog. I don't know, animals.
You're on the right track, actually. You're on the right track.
Crosby, Marchand, both from Nova Scotia, right?
Yep, they are. Don't know what that has to
Utah
do
and
with this,
Buffalo.
but yeah, they
Utah
do.
and Buffalo, notedly not from Nova Scotia. Those are separate places.
You're pretty good on track with when you're going through. You're talking about animals, though.
Animals.
I like your train of thought.
And the Utah Mammoth, the Buffalo Sabres. Marchand's a bit of a rat. Now he's on the team where rats rain from the sky. Crosby, I mean, he is a dog, but like that's not really a thing. McKinnon,
no.
Nate Dog, that's more of a thing. Crosby, the GOAT.
Crosby's got a nickname, though, doesn't he?
Sid the Kid.
Ooh, interesting.
The Kid.
Oh, Canucks fire Adam Foote. There we go. That just dropped, by the way. We got that out there. Adam Foote's gone.
Damn.
Probably the right call. They kind of threw him into a fire, basically. Of, hey, come to Vancouver, but we're going to tear it down as soon as you get here.
Yeah.
And I think they only brought him in for Quinn Hughes.
That is
like
true.
To make Quinn Hughes happy. So
yeah,
you don't really need him now. So buy Adam Foote. Anyways, so back to the connection here.
Is it just like nicknames? Just the Kid, the Rat, the Mammoth, the Sabres?
Not entirely, no. I mean, it's kind of close. The Crosby one is a bit off.
There's
no the.
It's just Kid.
No.
Crosby. I don't know if he has any other nicknames than that. I don't know. Honey Bun. What does McKinnon call him?
The first part of his nickname.
The?
No, before the.
Like, he's Captain Canada. He's kind of like that. Or is it just Sydney? Is it just his name?
Sid, yeah.
Sid.
There you go.
Mammoth. Saber. Is it Ice Age?
It is Ice Age. Yes. It is Ice Age.
I was like, wait a minute. Sid. He's very specific that it's Sid.
Yeah.
And then I was like, Mammoth. Wait a second. Sabres. And then Marchand's a rat. I guess Scrat's the rat.
Scrat. Yeah, it's kind of the closest I could get for that one.
He's the closest to like a fourth main character, I think.
Yeah, I that's kind of what I assumed. I think I've only seen the first two, but so I kind of just assumed it.
You didn't see Dawn of the Dinosaurs?
Oh yeah, I don't know. I might have. That actually sounds familiar now. Maybe I have.
Definitely don't.
But you did. Yes, you did get it. Ice Age characters. I could see as soon as it clicked in your head, and you were like, "Okay, you got it."
Yeah. You were absolutely right to try and get me to figure out Sid because that's obviously the hardest one and the most helpful.
Yeah. But I knew once you got that one,
That's good. Oh okay, yeah.
But that was what's the connection? Let us know at home if you figured it out.
I was going to say, I wonder if other people got that like right away. Like that's
I don't know. Yeah. But Adam Foote's out in Vancouver. Not surprising whatsoever. We'll see what else news comes out of Vancouver as things are changing up there. We're in the third round of the playoffs. It's been very entertaining, very exciting. All of that noise. But that is it for this episode. Again, if you want to talk hockey, let us know your thoughts on the playoffs or anything we discussed in this episode or potentially didn't that you'd like us to talk about. You can do so through any of our socials. They are all linked down below, or YouTube. Go over to YouTube in the comments or community section. Chat with us there. Braden,
hit us up.
As always, final thoughts.
final thoughts. Feels like we've been in the playoffs for a while. We're down to 4 teams, but we're actually only halfway there. We still got 2 more rounds to go. It's going to be a lot of fun. As soon as this third round gets underway and we start seeing these games, it's going to be a good time. We're really going to see this. Like now, we went from 16 down to 4 teams. Now it's not every team's kind of in their own bubble at the start, and it's like a team wins the first round, you don't really think about them winning the cup yet. Like there's so far to go. Now there's only 4 teams. You throw a dart at the board, you hit a team, you got 25% chance of being right.
Mhm.
Like now we're really looking at the inter-team matchups because there's only 3 possible other opponents, and one of them's already locked in. And
Yeah.
it's that time where like one of these teams is 8 games away from glory, and
Yeah.
that's all it takes. A hot goalie can absolutely steal you a series and can steal you 2 series. I'm very excited to see how this one shakes out. It feels like we got 2 very strong teams that everyone's kind of feeling is destined to meet up. We've seen plenty of upsets before. Nobody thought Montreal was getting to the final in 2020 or in 2021 rather. They beat out
Yeah.
some good teams to get there.
Yeah.
Let's see if they do it
you're
again.
absolutely right. But that is it for this episode. One final time. We hope you all enjoyed. And as always, we will see all of you out on the ice later this week.